wait a minute. Anybody know you're here?
Nobody, not a soul except,
Who?
well, you see, I didn't know where your office was, so I asked the newsboy. He didn't know, so I asked the fireman, the greengrocer, the butcher, the baker. They didn't know. But the liquor store guy, he knew.
Oh, look! It's a dame over there. It's a dream dish of a dame. It's Katrina Porter.
Hi, Anna Serene.
Bring our boys back home.
This is going to be a long episode.
Sure is. Welcome to Split Happens, everyone.
Welcome, everybody.
Each episode, Katrina and I talk about a movie that both of us love.
Mm-hmm.
But one of us is going to be so sad. So very sad.
Just smelling my candle.
Like Jan.
It's lemon pound cake.
And one of us being Katrina today, because she is going to have to attack this movie. Pretend like she hates it and attack it, even though she loves it.
I do.
We have one rule. The con, who's Katrina this episode, only has to attack during the synopsis, and during that time, the con can't say anything nice about the movie. If they, meaning Katrina, slips and says something nice or good or pretty, she earns a penalty, and she is going to have to give some love to the movie that she hates the most.
What constitutes as pretty? Because that feels like a setup.
Flowery.
Mm.
Flowery dialogue.
You're setting me up for failure already.
Mm-mm. Well, the movie I hate the most is the remake of Clash of the Titans that came out in 2010. That's all I have to say.
The movie that I hate the most, which shouldn't be called a movie, is the movie Hannibal.
You will know that the pro has caught a rule break by this sound.
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
How do you feel about being the con on this one today, Katrina?
You know, not good.
No?
No.
Oh. Why?
Because this movie's perfect and wonderful
Groundbreaking.
and revolutionary. One of a kind still after all these years. Which means
Yes.
today,
Yes.
as the con,
Yes.
I am going to motorboat this movie like an unmedicated rabbit with ADHD and an unrealistically voluptuous woman.
Holy shit. Let's see. Rabbit, voluptuous,
Unmedicated.
unmedicated. We could only be talking about 1988's groundbreaking, part animation, part live action, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, no question mark.
There's no question mark?
There is not.
Oh.
Apparently, it's terrible luck to have a question mark.
I was telling Mom that we were recording this movie.
Yes.
And she's like, all I remember about it is that there was a voluptuous rabbit. I was like, no.
Oh, boy.
Nope, Mom. There was, and I was kind of being a little condescending. I'm like, no, it's a voluptuous woman who's married to a rabbit. And I'm like, well, that sounds ridiculous also.
How about I tell you a little bit about how this movie came to be? And then we'll get into the movie. And while we do that, I'm definitely going to be drinking some Cocho. I love it. And I had a margarita. Disclaimer.
Uh-oh. Rear.
Here's my disclaimer, folks. I don't have to work tomorrow. That's it. That's what
It seems like it's been a long time since we recorded, but it couldn't have been that long.
It hasn't been. It's definitely been a long time since I led an episode. I've been the con for like...
That's what it is.
Quite a few seconds. Let's talk about this movie a little bit, and I'm going to try not to slur my way through it. Actually...
You're going to try not to slut your way through it?
Slur!
Oh, I can't hear
Obvious
shit.
I'm going to slut my way through it. I can't help that.
Okay.
Okay, my real disclaimer is... This movie has so much trivia. I mean, it really has... When I say groundbreaking, I'm not kidding. It really... This was one of a kind. There's tons and tons and tons. So... rather than like just kind of go over that, which a lot of people probably have already heard, I didn't write a lot of my trivia down. So I read it, and I'm just going to go from memory. And I guess if I'm incorrect, you're going to hear this.
No, there's no way that's correct.
I'm gonna do a disclaimer for you.
Oh, good.
You can't remember shit.
I can't.
You didn't write down trivia.
I wrote down some.
Oh my god.
So there's a very solid chance I'm going to get some names wrong.
Oh god.
Possibly some characters and actual facts and dates and general knowledge. Okay. This movie was directed by Robert Zemeckis.
I don't believe it.
You don't...
I think you're lying already.
I am definitely not. It is 100% Robert Zemeckis. I wrote it down multiple times, so that's how I know it's true. Robert Zemeckis really loves special effects. You can tell because he directed Back to the Future. And then he did this movie. Up next, he did Death Becomes Her.
Okay.
Which also was kind of groundbreaking at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1994, he directed a special effects heavy movie called Forrest Gump.
You know how I feel about tampons. Don't get me started.
Well, he worked with him again in Castaway.
Don't even get me started on Castaway.
He did great. Actually, earlier in his career, he did I Want to Hold Your Hand, which I love. It's a great movie. And 1941, which is fine. I liked it. It's just not a lot of people did. Used Cars, I liked that one a lot, too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He also did Romancing the Stone.
Oh, we're going to do that at some point.
So that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of amazing.
Yeah.
He directed one of my favorite episodes of the TV show Amazing Stories.
The one with where the wheels don't come up or down?
Oh, that one's a great one. That one is called
Plain Wheels.
Plain Wheels, I believe is not... That might have been an alternate title, maybe like outside of the U.S.
Oopsie Doodle?
The Oopsie Doodles. I think it was called... It wasn't The Quest, The Journey, The Mission. It's called The Mission. No, he did one called Go to the Head of the Class, which was fucking awesome. It had Mary Stuart Masterson in it, and I want to say Eric Stoltz, but maybe I'm thinking that because they were some kind of wonderful together.
I was going to say. And the blonde. Not Carrie Green.
Oh, from Howard the Duck?
No, who's the woman in it? Besides Mary Stuart Masterson.
Howard the Duck lady.
What's her name? Carrie Green is Goonies.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Okay, so Go to the Head of the Class was that one, and they have a really, really nasty teacher who is played by Christopher Lloyd, by the way, who's in this movie.
Leah Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Leah Thompson was in Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah. About Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Very quickly, in 1981, author Gary K. Wolfe, great name, he wrote the book Who Censored Roger Rabbit? And Disney immediately bought the rights because they thought it would make a great movie. And then Robert Zemeckis immediately came to them and said, hey, I want to direct that. And they were like, no, thanks. Who are you? Because he had just done Used Cars in 1941 and they bombed. So Disney passed on Zemeckis.
Did Used Cars have
He's alive, so you might be thinking of something.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah.
I was
Is the lead?
I was thinking of Mork.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
That is Repo Man. They're really similar.
Okay, wait. Did it have he was married to Susan Sarandon?
That is Tim Robbins, and that is incorrect.
Wait. Okay, give me one more clue.
Okay. He has been with the same woman in Hollywood for quite some time, but
Kurt
not
Russell?
married. Kurt Russell!
Yay!
It had Kurt Russell. It was great. I enjoyed it. I think it might have been filmed in
Lawrence?
Mesa, Arizona. Mesa. Somewhere where we were born.
Where we were bebes.
A few years later, Disney asked Amblin.
Amblin.
What year did this come out? 1988.
Did that little rascal Steven Spielberg, was he involved with this as well?
Can you hear the E.T. music? Amblin. It's like Ambien, but for movies. It won't make you sleepy. It'll make you entertained. They asked him to produce it.
You know what we should try to do is we should try to do a movie in the 80s that he had absolutely nothing to do with.
How are we going to find that?
We have to do some crap.
We did April Fool's Day already. Disney animation at the time was in a shit slump. And they thought that maybe this movie could help drag them out of it. And they thought Amblin, going with it, Amba.
You're like Boston Rob from Survivor.
Would be what they needed. And you're not going to believe this, Katrina.
He had some opinions about it.
Steven Spielberg's contract gave him a whole lot of creative control.
What?
No.
I tease old Steven Spielberg a lot. I think he's brilliant, which is not a hot take. And if you've not watched the documentary about him, it came out like maybe 5 years ago. Great.
Honestly, this movie would have been another steaming pile of shit to add to the shit slump if Steven Spielberg would not have been involved. He was the one that got all of the other animation studios to lend their characters to the movie. And I'll get into that later, what that meant in regards to like Looney Tunes.
Okay, I wondered about that.
Yeah, because this was, when I say this is groundbreaking, for a number of reasons, not just the special effects, which are incredible, but also just having all of these different animation studios lend their characters. And for like, I thought it was like $5,000 a piece, which is unheard of. Our notoriously difficult director friend, Terry Gilliam, was offered to direct this movie, but he passed.
He was doing Time Bandits?
He thought it was going to be too technically difficult.
Oh, well, that's actually not a dickhead thing to think.
Yeah, he said he really regretted it. I'm actually glad because I can kind of see where he would have taken it.
Lots of boats.
Zemeckis, on the other hand, was like, hi.
Can you spell Zemeckis without looking at your notes?
Yes.
Do it.
Can I get a proof that I'm not looking?
Yes.
Zemeckis. Could you use it in a sentence, please?
When you drink too much calamocho, your face does a Zemeckis.
Can you give me the country of origin, please?
Australia.
Zemeckis. Z, starting off great. E-M-E-C-K-I-S. Zemeckis.
I'll accept that.
Thank you. I cannot fucking believe I did that. I'm the smartest person in the world. Oh, my belt come undone. Oh, no.
You're like, I'm the smartest person. Wait, my clothes aren't buttoned.
My belt came undone. Oh, it's silly. Anyway, Zemeckis was like, hi, I'll direct it. And because he had just done Romancing the Stone, which was great, and Back to the Future, which obviously did great, he was hired. Roger Rabbit started out with a budget of about $30 million, and at the time, that was the most expensive budget ever for an animated film.
Did you say what year this actually came out?
88.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure you said 88.
I am almost positive I've said it at least twice.
I think you said 81, that somebody wasn't doing well. I wasn't listening. Maybe it was Disney.
It was 88. That's what it was. I said 88.
Okay, rewind the tape.
We could only be talking about 1988's groundbreaking part animation, part live action, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? No question mark.
What year did this come out?
1988.
Did that little rascal Steven Spielberg, was he involved with this as well? I'm positive earlier you said that something was 81 because I thought, I was 4 years old.
I literally have not said 1981 until this very moment. If 1981 shows up we will listen to it together.
Okay.
And if you catch a 1981,
we won't have long. It's like 4 minutes in.
I'll eat crow.
Hold up. Hey.
Very quickly, in 1981, author Gary K. Wolfe, great name, he wrote the book Who Censored Roger Rabbit? I did say $30 million at the time. Very, very expensive. However, we go higher. They're like, we can go bigger, because the budget ballooned to $70 million because it was way over schedule. Because it turns out this was way bigger than they anticipated, and Disney almost pulled the plug. And it went on to gross $330 million worldwide. To date, Who Framed Roger Rabbit remains the only animated film to garner 3 Academy Awards for film editing, best visual effects, and best sound.
Really? No other animated movies had more than that?
Correct. Okay, so, like I said, there is a tremendous amount of trivia with this, and I wrote some of it down, and I'm relying on my memory with some of it. Oh, okay, here we go. Folks, if you want to hear an episode where there's a ton of trivia, but the person that was leading the episode actually did their homework and wrote things down, listen to the Terminator 2 episode, which KATRINA was the pro on, and she brought tons of cool stuff.
Aw. I just, at the top of my notes, of which I have very little notes, I have a lot of questions.
I have a lot of ice in my glass, so you got questions, I got ice. I apologize.
All right.
You ready? Let's get in.
Let's play the fucking song.
Let the games begin.
We open with a cartoon.
No, we don't. That's not how it starts.
Oh.
Because I have a note.
Oh, that was fast.
When you watch a movie and it describes things that are going to be in the movie, like brief nudity and like language, this says contains tobacco depictions. This movie's the worst.
I mean, there's quite a bit of there's some blue language that shows up. And hey, speaking of language, I did look up some 1940s slang, so I'm going to try real hard to remember that I did that and actually kind of pepper it in. You see? Okay, well, after that description, I'm very sorry that happened for you. That was a troublesome thing for you.
Not for me, for all of us. But go ahead.
I'm super into it. I loved tobacco use depictions when I was, how old? I was 10. When I was 10, I loved that shit.
Yeah, that's what Philip Morris was hoping for.
Yeah, I love camels.
But only camels that smoke.
Now else you're gonna know that they're cool. We open with a cartoon now. Roger Rabbit and Baby Herman in Something's Cooking. This confused the hell out of a lot of moviegoers for the first test screening because they were mostly teenagers, like 18, 19-year-olds, which is really, really not the targeted audience. And a lot of them walked out in the test screening, in the first screening.
See, that's a criticism. They didn't even know how to have a target audience.
No,
Amateurs.
Well, Disney was like, we put a lot of money into this. In the cartoon, a refrigerator lands on Roger Rabbit, and we see him with birds above him rather than stars, and a director yells, "Cut!" and we realize we're just watching a cartoon being filmed.
I have questions.
Yep.
3.
Yes.
What kind of monster threatens to send a bunny to the science lab? And what kind of monster has a bunny watching a baby? And what kind of oven has a volcanic heat setting?
I can't believe these are takes.
Are they making a brontosaurus burger?
Brontosaurus burger. All I can say is that this was the 40s, and that's how things were done then.
They had bunnies babysit babies in the 40s?
Yeah. You know why? I can tell you why.
Whoa.
Because our boys were off at war, and the women had to step up and get jobs and play baseball. America's pastime.
I have another question about the cartoon, though.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you notice what the vacuum was called? It was called Suckalux, which has to be your prison name.
Suckalux. That was my circus name.
Okay.
That was quite popular.
Follow-up question.
Hula
What was your talent in the circus?
hoops. I was the queen of the unexpected.
I'm just going to say it. This baby's an asshole.
Baby Herman.
Yeah, asshole.
Can I take a little bit about the director?
Sure.
This says, cut, cut, cut. That is Joel Silver. He is a producer. And this was a prank on Disney chief Michael Eisner by Robert Zemeckis specifically and Steven Spielberg. Spielberg, of course, he was involved. Because Eisner and Joel Silver hated each other when they were at Paramount together.
Ooh, love this. Gossip.
Hated. Because they did 48 Hours together. So Joel Silver, like, because he usually has like a big old, great big bushy beard.
Mm-hmm.
So he shaved all that off.
Mm-hmm.
And he was almost unrecognizable. And then they told Eisner, oh, and he like, he didn't even, I don't even think he got paid. Oh, by the way, Joel Silver, Silverman, no, Silver. It's just Joel Silver.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly he's at least one of the people that Len Grossman is based off of in Tropic Thunder.
Oh. Do you think Joel Silver is where Stephen King got the title Silver Bullet from?
Yes. Oh, that was in my notes. That's next.
Uh-huh. Go ahead. Tell me more about it.
Well, here's the thing.
Okay. Because
When
I've read
Joel
all
Silver was at Paramount with Michael Eisner,
Yep.
he became a werewolf, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how things were at Paramount in the 80s.
Oh.
But Michael Eisner was like, no way. Because Michael Eisner actually came from a long line of werewolf hunters.
And Stephen King comes into this where?
He was supplying their coke.
All right, I believe it.
Poor Roger. He can't get his lines right. And then we meet Eddie Valiant. And he's a private dick. And he doesn't seem to love tunes.
I just got a message from our mom.
Uh-oh.
That's like, I am watching Farmhouse Fixer. Jonathan Knight is the contractor who enjoys fixing farmhouses when he is not singing with the new kids on the block.
What?
They perform 2 months a year. He is not a kid anymore.
Aww. That's really cute.
I know. I love Jonathan Knight. There were many reasons that we weren't going to work out, but I didn't understand at the time.
Is it because he was gay?
Well, we didn't know that. I thought it was because of that bitch Tiffany. I wanted Tiffany to think she was alone now, 6 feet.
Shit! Look what you've done. You know what? Fuck you. I'm using my glasses like this the whole time. I hope you're happy.
You look ridiculous.
I can see most of my notes.
Okay.
Do you want to know a little bit about the casting of Eddie Valiant? Of course you do.
Yes, because I have notes.
Oh, my hair is wet. Robert Zemeckis communicated with a number of actors. Some of them that were considered for this curmudgeon. So call him Harrison Ford.
No.
He would have been great. He was too expensive.
No, go ahead and give them to me and I'll tell you if they would have been good or not.
Harrison Ford.
No.
Chevy Chase.
No.
Well, he wasn't interested. Bill Murray.
Yes.
He has like a weird... Hold on. Okay, I'll come back to Bill Murray. Robert Redford.
No.
Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
Sylvester Stallone.
No.
Ed Harris.
No.
Charles Grodin.
No.
No, think about it for a second. Charles Grodin.
I know he is. Muppets.
Yep. Wow. There are so many different ways you could have gone with that. Not Beethoven. Not in The Incredible Shrinking Woman.
No, he broke Mrs. Piggy's heart.
My last one is Wallace Shawn. You know, really sit on that one for a while.
Who?
Inconceivable.
Oh. I say no, but he was perfect in Princess Bride.
I agree with that, for sure. Okay, so Bill Murray, he very much regrets. He's very, very upset that he didn't get this. But he has this weird quirk that if somebody offers him, like, to get parts or whatever, if you don't talk to him, like, in person, you like, leave a voice, or is it called a voicemail back then?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Just a message. You'd have to leave a message on his phone or whatever. And if his mailbox got too full, he just wouldn't get it. And this was one of those cases. He didn't get it. He didn't find out that he was even in consideration until years later, and he was super, super upset about it. He was like in the airport, and he just went, oh, God. Eddie Valiant goes to the owner of Maroon Tunes, R.K. Maroon, who tells Eddie that Roger is fucking up because Roger's wife is fucking around. And he wants Eddie to get proof of an affair so Roger can get back to his focus, back to his work, is what he says.
I have a real criticism. Valiant's tie is too short. It looks ridiculous. Boom. Isn't he like 5'2"? How could he ever have a short tie?
Rude. Rude.
Clearly that $70 million budget did not go into attention to detail to wardrobe.
Well, I believe short ties were actually popular at the time.
No, not like that. Go back and watch it. It looks ridiculous, and everyone is going to be on my side.
I will go back and watch it because it's a delightful movie.
You say. Do they just have random saxophone players hanging around a movie lot?
Yeah.
Okay, well then where's his codpiece?
It wasn't appropriate for the 40s. Holy mackerel, hot diggity dog.
You are not a real saxophone player if you don't have a codpiece. I watched Lost Boys.
I think you are in cahoots with Timmy Capello. The scene of Eddie going out of Maroon Studio is an opportunity to showcase a shitload of characters from different studios. There was...
Oh, you're winging it now. Uh-oh.
They got a lot of animated characters. Some of them that were not able to come on board were Popeye, for sure, Chip and Dale.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And Dora the Explorer.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Did not exist then.
She's not there. But they were able to get like 324 characters. 324 characters they were able to get.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Eddie goes to the bar across the street. Whoa. Huh.
He gets from the studio to the bar by hopping on the back of a train where he takes cigarettes from a child.
Okay, first of all, it's not a train. It's the red car.
Okay.
And he was taking them from the child because he knew that child should not be smoking.
Oh, yeah,
He
that's
was
after...
He was saying, I'll take your cigarettes from you because I'm a responsible adult.
Yeah, I think he lit all their cigarettes up and he's like, thanks, kids.
He doesn't want them using fire matches on their own. So Eddie is going to the bar across the street from his house. And we see a whole lot of down and out patrons, including our friend from Time Bandits. He was one of the... I think he was not Wally, not Bug-Eye.
Rapscallion. Rebel Rouser.
Rain Man.
Red Dog.
Lionel.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Who eats a hard-boiled egg at a bar?
Who doesn't? Every time I go to a bar, I order a very sensible vodka tonic with a splash of lime. Actually, a vodka and Sprite with a little bit of cranberry called the Pink Drink, and it is an Andy Morton original. Just found that out. And it was delicious.
Follow-up question.
Yes.
What the fuck does any of that have to do with my question about who eats a hard-boiled egg at a bar?
Well, I always order a very sensible drink, like the Pink Drink I mentioned earlier. And I bring a hard-boiled egg so that I make sure that I've got some food on my tummy before I start drinking, because that's responsible. Are you just wanting people to not drink responsibly? Isn't that like a hashtag?
So you're going to go to a bar with your friends and eat a snack that's going to give you egg farts for 2 hours.
That's just how it was in the 40s. It was a real jitterbug.
Jot this down. When we open our bar, we're going to have a no hard-boiled egg rule.
I'm not prepared for that. Dolores works there, and she's played by Joanna Cassidy. And her most notable role is probably Blade Runner, but we know her from the boss in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Because that's her.
Oh, that's right. I love her in that movie.
Yeah, she insinuates to Christina Applegate that she should stick a cucumber up her vag, if I remember correctly.
Oh, and you're having a problem with things being inappropriate in a movie? This guy just says, wise ass, is this a children's movie?
I have to tell you, I looked up Joanna Cassidy, and she is a stone cold fox. That lady is doing great. Joanna Cassidy, please God, tell me you hear this, because you are fucking beautiful.
Well, she as an actress.
Yes.
And a person.
What do you think I read in this movie?
She is gorgeous in general. And there's no movie that she can't be gorgeous in because she's gorgeous. Here's my criticism. She's not in it enough. She's wasted.
There's a million people in this. There's like, what did I say, 318 characters.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Well, I would have preferred 304 and more Cassidy.
What's her first name?
Jessica. Joanna.
There it is. Well, the job Eddie takes from R.K. Maroon, it sends him to the Ink and Paint Club.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's something interesting about this. Maroon tells him it's a toon review and humans only allowed as customers, being entertained and served by cartoons. In the book, the allegory of racism is much clearer, but this scene is really meant as a nod to the 1940s clubs like the Cotton Club, where black people were able to perform but not actually patronize. Eddie thinks Roger's wife is going to be like, a rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, she's tall and sultry with big old huge titties. And he also meets Jessica's sugar daddy, Marvin Acme.
Question.
Yes?
No. Statement.
Ooh, okay.
This movie
Is awesome.
via Jessica Rabbit promotes impossible beauty standards and is probably responsible for the rise of the Kardashians.
How dare you?
Yep.
How dare you bring them into this?
Sorry, I didn't. They did.
There's a reason why her body shape is so ridiculous.
Really? What is it?
No, this is for real.
A man wrote
looks
it?
like I'm bullshitting, but it's for real. Do you know what rotoscope is? Okay. Basically, rotoscope is like whenever they film something and then they put there's like tracing paper or whatever over it so that they can just trace on top of it. It's kind of cheating a little bit. The animators were worried that Disney was going to insist on rotoscoping, which they didn't want to do because they hand animated every single bit of this movie. This scene in particular in the club is crazy. They had to create, there's like 8 feet below them. The set was 8 feet off the ground so that they could run back and forth because humans were controlling all of the different elements that were there, puppeteers and stuff, so that they would interact. So they had to film everything with like dummies, and then they were able to draw over that, and it was so incredibly time consuming and tedious. But they wanted to keep that authenticity. So they created a body shape that could not be rotoscoped. I know that for sure this scene in particular was really, really difficult, not just because of all the elements and all of the different characters, and it was just, there's a lot going on, but because of Jessica's dress, because it's one thing to animate, but also her dress is shimmery. Hey, speaking of Jessica,
Okay.
she is voiced by an uncredited Kathleen Turner. She was pregnant at the time. She was able to be the voice of that without having to be part of guild like regulations and stuff like that if she's credited. She did this as a favor to Robert Zemeckis because they had just done Romancing the Stone. She was pregnant at the time. She's like, well, all I have to do is lend my voice.
I think that in general, in other things, Kathleen Turner has an incredibly sexy voice in other things in general.
What about in this?
I can't remember. She wasn't credited.
It's not her singing voice. Guess who it is?
Who?
Steven Spielberg's wife at the time, Amy Irving. Irving, yeah.
No way.
Uh-huh.
That motherfucker can't keep his hands off of anything.
I want to talk for just a minute because, there's so much going on with this scene. Oh, Betty Boop. You know who does Betty Boop?
Yes, from Christmas Vacation.
Yes, Mae Questel. She was Aunt Bethany.
Mm-hmm.
Is your house on fire, Clark?
No, Bethany, those are Christmas lights.
Don't throw me down, Clark.
I'll try not to, Aunt Bethany.
I want to talk real quick about Donald Duck and Daffy Duck.
Okay, because they're in the scene where they're doing the dueling pianos.
Yes.
Okay.
This is just one of many instances where Disney and Looney Tunes had some conflict. The negotiations for this were ridiculous. For instance, like they wanted to make sure that they were on for the exact same amount of time, including seconds, had the exact same amount of lines.
This bitch.
This is my favorite. They wanted to make sure that they were both equally good pianists.
Okay.
They wanted to be equally talented. They needed to make sure that they were both, that neither of them were better than the other.
I guarantee at that time the heads of both those studios were men.
Probably still.
No.
Nope.
I think the head of Disney right now is a female.
Really? What's her name?
Jennifer Duck.
Supposedly people thought that Donald Duck, because he does his Donald Ducky voice, that he said some slurs.
I didn't think that, but now I'm disgusted.
No, people have broken it down, and he's calls him a nitwit and things like that, but nothing slurry, to my understanding.
You're slurry.
I sure am. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, drink, because... Dummy. Oh, I don't know if this is... Oh, no, it might be later in the movie. Fuck it. This is when I remember it now. At some point in the movie, I think there's in a bathroom, so that might be later. But now it has like written on the wall in the bathroom was like, for a good time, call Alice in Wonderland. However, that's not what it originally was. Those fucking animators who really, really didn't like the Disney people put up the actual home phone number of Jeffrey Katzenberg. Or it might have been Michael Eisner. One of them.
Okay.
When you have all those different animation studios, and there were 13 of those.
That's
studios.
not true. I feel like you don't know what you're saying now.
No, there's no way that's correct.
314.
That's not what you said before.
Yes, it is.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Well, the phone number was removed for the, later on, because, you can't do that. Eddie Valiant takes pictures of Jessica Rabbit cheating on Roger playing patty cake with Marvin Acme, which devastates Roger, and afterwards he drinks some booze and he has a freaking out man, and he leaves through the window.
Roger looks like I did after we recorded Twister. When Valiant is back at his office/slum apartment, he takes 4 photos off the clothesline, but when he's sitting there going through them, he's going through like 20 photos. That's silly.
They were... Fuck, did you notice that? Also, slum apartment. Sorry, moneybags. Not everybody can...
Wait, did you just ask how I noticed that? I was literally looking for anything I could write down.
Well, that's silly and nitpicky.
It is silly that these attention to detail queens didn't notice that if you take 4 photos off a clothesline, but then you're sitting there going through like 400 photos, a drunk Kansan.
Was it you?
Yes,
you. Oh,
me.
okay, you.
Is gonna notice it.
I think you might be wrong. I think those were already sitting on the table.
No.
They had dust on them.
Definitely not.
You are doubting yourself.
I don't think so.
Unfortunately, Marvin Acme is murdered. I'm not going to get into how different the book is from this, but it's very different. Like, Roger dies. Roger's murdered. There's lots going on, but in this one, Robin Acme? I don't think that's right.
Well, before this, we were really clued in, and obviously I'm not being judgmental.
Yes.
But I think Valiant should lay off the sauce.
He has, this was the 40s. Things were difficult. He was struggling. He had lost his brother at some point that I think you see at this point. Yeah, you find out his brother was killed. Acme is murdered, and then Eddie goes to the scene of the crime where he asked to go.
By who? The police?
Okay, first of all, it's whom? And secondly, yes, by the police, because he had just taken pictures, so he was a witness. He was a person of interest that they needed to question. That's why he was there.
Okay, and where do we see in the movie that the law enforcement, the professionals, the people who went to criminal justice school, like moi? Those of us in the criminal justice biz.
Oh, no. Oh, not forensic psychologist, Dr. KATRINA Porter?
Know that just because you call yourself a private dick doesn't mean you could just willy-nilly show up at a crime scene. He just wanders around the crime scene, touching things, contaminating the evidence, which would then let the perp go free.
I just want to remind you that somebody was killed by a cartoon, and this was 1940.
So what you're telling me is that in 1940,
yeah,
that anybody could go to a crime scene whenever they wanted, thus contaminating the scene and letting the perps go free.
Those were the times. You could do anything. Anything you wanted.
Unless you were black.
Killer Man. Unless you're a minority.
Oh, wait. A minority, you say?
Oh.
What would make you say that? Because there are no minorities anywhere in this movie at all. Not one person of color in this entire movie.
Really?
Yes.
You're sure about that?
Yes.
Not a single person of color.
Not a single human
That's not what you said.
actor.
That's not what you said.
Can you go ahead and give me the rundown of the actors in this movie that are people of color?
Yes.
Yep, you just did it.
Right now, I need to talk to you about Judge Doom. Because he just shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Lloyd is fantastic in this as Judge Doom.
Well, his teeth are too fucking white.
Well, that's because he's a cartoon. Spoiler. His teeth are supposed to be ridiculous. He also doesn't blink. Not a single time in this movie. Because he felt like a cartoon wouldn't. And he thought it was creepier. Speaking of creepy, so some of the people that they considered to cast as Judge Doom.
Okay, hold on. I'll tell you if I think they should or should not be cast. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm, again, doing this from memory.
Okay.
Okay, so I know for sure Sting was
No.
one. Roddy McDowell. Maybe it might have been Malcolm McDowell. One of the McDowells.
Yes to either.
They would have been good?
Yeah.
I would have said Malcolm would have been good, but Roddy would be a difficult.
Wait, Roddy from Fright Night?
Yeah.
Okay, Malcolm, yes. Roddy, no.
Okay. Eddie Raymond.
No.
That can't be right.
It's not even a real name.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Eddie Raymond. Who was in Fantastic Beasts? I think that's who I just said.
That's it. That's...
Oh. Eddie Rabbit.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Eddie Murphy.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Eddie...
Oh, Eddie Murphy was considered for Eddie Valiant.
Oh, and they're like, haha, you're black. Sorry, keep moving.
He didn't want to do it. They asked him about it because of 48 Hours. And he said, no, I hate cartoons.
That's your line.
No. He said it, and then he regretted it a bunch, and that's why he was Donkey in the Shrek movies.
No, there's no way that's correct.
None of that is true.
It's all, mostly some of it, true.
None of that is true. Eddie Rabbit sang that song about nights. He was not considered. He loves a rainy night or something. He had no interest in this movie.
Oh. I will tell you one I know for sure who was considered, but they thought he would be too terrifying. Oh, I know two of them. Okay, one of them was Christopher Lee.
No. Oh, yes.
Yes, right. He thought he would be a little bit too scary. He just thought he would be too spooky.
Oh, really? Because Judge Doom isn't terrifying and also rude?
You know who else they strongly consider, but they thought he would would be too frightening? Tim Curry.
Nice try, French fry. He was freaking doing chorus line.
Okay.
Nobody thought that he was going to be terrifying.
Okay, first of all, this was 88. Chorus line was in 84.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Sheila, get your ass on stage.
That was not Tim Curry.
Yeah, he was doing Legend.
For the 876th time, that was Terrence Mann.
Judge Doom is terrifying. His teeth are too white. And he's rude. He brings up the fact that Valiant's brother is dead like 3 times, which is so mean.
The scene, I have to tell you, so there's a scene in this where Judge Doom like dips the shoe in the dip.
Yeah, terrifying. This is not a kid's movie.
I still can't watch it. I'm not kidding. It's just, it's so cute. The shoe is really, really cute. The dip is actually like, the things that he mentions are paint thinners. So it would actually erase a cartoon. The voice of the shoe was Nancy Cartwright. She does Bart Simpson. Isn't that interesting?
No. This is a real take I have.
Oh, okay.
Roger doesn't take responsibility for anything. We need to talk about externalization of blame.
The cartoon?
Yes.
Really?
Everything is everyone else's fault. He doesn't take responsibility for anything.
What was he saying wasn't his fault that should have been his fault?
Well, the fact that... I don't remember. I wrote that down in my notes. He didn't take responsibility for anything.
Like what?
For, like, showing up at Valiant's home.
Yeah, speaking of which, Roger is just hanging out at Eddie's apartment. And, but Eddie's, hides him when Judge Doom's cronies show up, one of whom is voiced by...
You're making this up. You're making it up.
No, I just cannot pull his name. He was Squiggy?
Lenny and Squiggy?
Yeah.
On Laverne and Shirley?
Yeah. Whatever that guy's... That's him. That's what... He's like the main weasel.
Oh, I know what I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
Roger doesn't take responsibility. He shows up at Valiant's place, thus bringing the heat on Valiant. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm sorry, Eddie. It's not my fault. Well, of course it's his fault.
It's not his fault.
It is
He's being framed. Who framed Roger Rabbit? No question mark.
Roger did. Roger framed Roger by being irresponsible.
He was not irresponsible. He could have gone off. He could have run off and done something aggressive and terrible and mean, but instead he wrote, as we find out here, he did not go after Marvin Acme. He's being framed. He went and wrote a love letter to Jessica.
But, well, first of all, it's a stupid love letter. He clearly is not a poet. And he shows up to Valiant's place, like, go ahead and fix all this.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. He is paraphrasing Shakespeare.
Who?
The weasels come looking for Roger at Eddie's place. And we learn here that besides the dip, the only other way for a tune to die is by laughter.
Okay, but this is after Roger handcuffs himself to Valiant, thus taking any ability for Valiant to make a decision for himself.
He thought it would be funny. Speaking of Roger Rabbit, the person that voices Roger Rabbit is stand-up comedian Charles Fleischer. He was originally just brought in to line read for Bob Hoskins after he had been cast. And he was so good at it, they just kept him. Hey.
Huh.
KATRINA.
What?
Did you see the movie Zodiac?
Yes.
With David Fincher?
Yes.
Do you remember the scene where Jake Gyllenhaal's character goes to that one super fucking creepy guy in the basement?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's just so upsetting. I'm trying to think of what he asked him. And he asked him something and then he freaks out and goes upstairs and then he's right behind him.
Right.
That's Charles Fleischer.
Oh.
Which makes perfect sense because I watched an interview with him and I'm going to show it to you later. And I'm telling you, that man needs to control his face because he looks...
Like a serial killer?
He does. He looks like he'd make a lamp out of you.
Do you want to know a real criticism I have about this scene?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the weasels show up.
Yeah.
And Roger is handcuffed to Valiant.
Yeah.
And Valiant hides him by putting Roger in the sink.
Roger just hops in the sink.
Yeah, he couldn't have held his breath that long.
He did.
No, you can't.
Oh, is he dead? Is he a dead rabbit now?
Rabbits can hold their breath underwater for 18 seconds.
What about cartoon rabbits?
24.
That's how long he was under.
He was under there for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's how long the scene was.
That's incorrect. Everything that you're saying is factually incorrect. First of all, rabbits can hold their breath underwater for 36 seconds. Thank you very much. It's science. Watch a fucking nature documentary. Okay? And then cartoon rabbits can hold their breath underwater or other liquids. Don't ask me why I know. It doesn't matter. They can hold their breath under those circumstances for a minute and 12 seconds. Thank you very much. Ask David Attenborough.
No, there's no way that's correct.
I did, and he would like me to ask you, what about Burmese cartoon rabbits? How long can they hold their breath underwater?
The Burmese rabbit holds his breath.
Is that your David Attenborough?
46 seconds.
Great. Sorry, Attenborough fam. We've got to apologize to them now.
Absolutely fucking not. That was insanely accurate.
There is literally no statistic that you've given in this movie that is the same at any point in time.
That's not true. Rabbits can hold their breath for 26 seconds and then 10 seconds more because they get like a little like extra bubble in their chest. Rabbits have like an extra like little air bubble.
Not Burmese cartoon rabbits, you dumbass. And also, you gave us different numbers for how many cartoons are in this thing. Like 3 different times.
I never did.
You did 3. Thrice.
Thrice
Pray
now.
wait. You have said like 314, 303, and 328 or some nonsense.
I don't think that happened at all. Damn it. All I have in my notes is talk about Roger Rabbit's construction. So I know for sure his ears represent his mood. His overalls the red was based off of Mickey Mouse.
No, there's no way that's correct.
And his gloves were based off of Porky Pig.
No, there's no way that's correct.
And then his ears were Bugs Bunny.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Porky Pig doesn't have yellow gloves.
His childlike sense of humor was a nod to Goofy.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Okay, none of that's true.
I just want to mention, by the way, because I wish I would have written it. I know for sure Mel Blanc did a bunch of voices in this.
Okay.
I already told you that Mae Questel does the voice of Betty Boop. Many of the voice actors that have done those cartoons throughout the ages, but it's important for Mel Blanc because I think this might have been the last thing he did before he died. Isn't that sad? Mm-hmm. Don't you feel like a big old penis?
No.
You said earlier that you hated Mel Blanc.
I did not say that. I did not.
You said you hate Mel Brooks.
I didn't say that either.
You did.
No, I didn't. Not even when we recorded Spaceballs and I needed to say mean things. I didn't say that.
I'm not talking about Spaceballs. I'm talking about Bugs Bunny.
This movie that Mel Brooks has nothing to do with?
I said Mel Blanc.
No, you didn't. What dumbass leaves an attention-seeking rabbit alone in a bar?
Well, yeah, because they go hide out at the bar in, like, the hidey hole, like the Prohibition hidey hole.
Yeah, and who's going to clean up all of that mess?
Have I even mentioned that Bob Hoskins is British? I mean, I'm sure everybody, hopefully, I don't know if people, I'm sure there's people who watch this that don't know who he is. He is not an American actor. He has a very, very good American accent.
Okay, this is the scene where I said earlier, there's one person of color in this movie, and he happens to be the soldier who only has one arm.
Yeah, y'all need to tread real fucking careful. And respect our troops.
You mean he was respecting him when he took his empty arm sleeve to use it to erase the chalkboard?
You mean the bad guy? The bad guy did that? What a dick.
He's awful.
Yeah, his name is Judge Doom.
Even bad guys respect our troops. They had one person of color in this movie, like I mentioned earlier. Not none. They had one. And they chose the one person of color to be in this movie as a chalkboard prop.
There's a bunch of people of color. It's not my fault that
Human.
you are ignoring them. Shave and a haircut, 2 bits.
You know I'm right.
Mm-mm. The judge almost kills Roger with the dip, but Eddie tricks Roger into having a drink before he dies, which makes Roger tweak out, and then they're able to escape. Dolores tells Eddie that Maroon is not the killer like he thought because he's not trying to buy Toontown. It's actually Cloverleaf, which I forgot to mention until this very moment. Cloverleaf is another company that bought up the red car, which is...
Where Valiant was smoking with the little children?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to be clear.
Man, times were tough.
That's what happened.
These kids probably came from the coal factory.
Well, their lungs were already fucked from the cigarettes, so...
Yeah, might as well just keep that train rolling.
Right. But...
Red train. Red car.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Cloverleaf, this is like a secondary plot. That's the thing is, it's really important in the book, probably. But, Cloverleaf is a company that bought up the red car, And then they also are buying up Toontown. They put in the highest bid to buy Toontown now that Marvin Acme is dead. So somebody over at Cloverleaf is buying up all the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Roger and Eddie go to hide out at a movie theater. Oh, did I mention that Charles Fleischer insisted he wear a bunny costume? He wear Roger's costume?
Well, that's fucking weird. Jot that down.
Roger has my favorite line reading of the whole movie, I swear to God. Where he goes, "A tune, kill my brother." Roger goes,
A tune? No.
"A tune? No." It's adorable. Mm-mm. Eddie tells Roger how his brother died, and the guy killed him was like, these eyes were fucking, they were like he was like, ugh, like that. And he had like a really high-pitched laugh. Like that. R.K. Maroon is mysteriously shot and killed. And for a second, you think it's Jessica because she knocks out Roger. But it's not.
Okay, but this is where Valiant's getting ready to go to Toontown.
Yeah, where his brother was killed. So this is fucking traumatic.
Okay, but...
Maybe you don't understand trauma. I do. Those of us with sisters in the mental health... Oh.
You mean me?
Yeah.
Listen.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm a proponent for drinking. And if somebody decides that drinking is not right for them and they should quit, God bless you. All I'm saying is... he decides to stop drinking at this moment where he's getting ready to hold a gun. Mm-hmm. Is this the best time for him to have shaky hands?
No.
No.
I'm not here to judge when the moment somebody takes the first step in their sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell somebody where to start their journey. They do that.
I can. If you're getting ready to go shoot people and you've been drinking constantly for 20 years, it's not the time to have DTs.
With a cartoon gun.
Oh.
His bullets are just...
I'm sorry.
His bullets might be one of my favorite... Well, Eddie Valiant, haven't seen you in a while. Oh, cinnamon and gravy.
I don't remember.
Oh, Eddie Valiant.
That's not what they sound like, because I would remember.
It's adorable.
Then what you see him here?
Eddie Valiant! Well, you're a sight for sore
I ain't
eyes.
seen you tonight on the 5 years.
Where you been?
Eddie is dealing with this shit in Toontown, which is crazy. And then there's a Jessica almost lookalike and a scene with Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse. So this is another instance where there was some serious negotiating to the second of how much time they would be on scene and how many lines they were spoken. And people got so tired of Disney shit that, and it is quick, and I will show you a picture of it, a screenshot of it, but Bugs Bunny flips off Mickey Mouse.
What, in the movie?
Yeah, it's very fast.
What?
And then Mickey Mouse kind of looks like shocked by it.
What? When Valiant is falling from the building, is it like 27,000 feet up? Because he's falling for like 10 minutes.
It's a cartoon. He's in Toontown. Actually, I really love this because it's another one of my favorite parts. Bugs is like, are you sure you should be jumping without a parachute? That seems kind of dangerous. Mickey goes, haha, you could get killed.
I don't think death is funny.
Yes, you do. Oh, Judge Doom and the Weasels have Eddie and Jessica in a Toon warehouse thing. And Judge Doom explains the plot.
What is my number one least favorite movie trope?
Oh, when somebody pretends like they're not hot anymore because they lose the glasses
And the flannel.
Yeah.
Yeah, your wardrobe. Guess what my second least favorite movie trope is?
A plot dump?
When people are in a precarious situation and the villain, instead of just killing them right away, which would make sense, spends the next 20 minutes explaining the whole plot, thus giving the heroes time to get rescued.
That's just how it was in the 40s. They all did that. That's how it was. In the 40s, nobody was killed immediately. Al Capone and Roger Corman and Bugsy Malone.
No, there's no way that's correct.
Roger's an irresponsible driver.
He's not driving at all. The car's driving.
Before that, Roger drives up in the car that he's clearly crashed like 15 times. And then the yellow car is like, move over, Roger. And then the car drives. But that's after Roger probably killed 3 Toons.
We're not dealing in probablys.
He did.
We're dealing in actualities.
Right. In the outtakes, they killed 3. So now they're down to 311 Toons in this movie.
Excuse me. I read every single possible bit of trivia that there could be about this movie. And nowhere did it say that Roger killed somebody.
Not somebody. 3 Toons.
You know what I think you're doing? You're framing Roger Rabbit. Who framed Roger Rabbit? KATRINA Porter. No question mark. Mm-mm. I was going to tell you about the movie it was set in the 40s and the whole thing with the red car. Okay, so here's
interesting.
Okay, people. Here's how this is how the plot works in this. Okay, so
you're going to explain to us something that Judge Doom hasn't already explained?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
In my words.
Okay.
This is the 40s. Mm-hmm. And there were red cars. Mm-hmm. But not like beep beep. They're red cars like, well, you called it a train earlier. Neither of us are correct. Mm-hmm. It's like a tram. It's a tram. They're trams. And Judge Doom actually owns Cloverleaf.
Oh.
And he bought up Red Car to dismantle it and then also put in the highest bid on Toontown because he wants to destroy Toontown to make room for freeways because Judge Doom loves rest areas and he wants...
Because he likes to get blowies from truckers?
No, because he likes Carl's Jr. This is something that actually did happen. I've got this in my notes, and it's just a whole lot of writing, so I'm just not going to be able to deal with that. But just so you know, in LA, I guess something like this kind of happened.
Have we gotten to the part where she's like, oh my God, it's dip!
It's the dip!
That's how I am when I see queso. Only like happy.
It really is. Roger shows up and the weasel's laughing reminds Eddie that laughing too much will kill the weasels. So he digs into his vaudevillian past and does a song and dance.
Rewind.
What?
Before that.
Nothing happened before this.
Before that, Roger said, I need to satisfy my sense of moral outrage.
It was really funny.
That's how I feel when anyone says they don't like Grease 2.
Oh, you must say that so much.
It is, yeah. I do have one more thing that I want to talk about before the dance number.
Okay.
Can we talk about the weasel with the kooky eyes that's wearing the straitjacket?
1947.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he has like a doctor standing over him, lobotomizing him or something. I mean, like this is not insensitive.
They might as well come here for your insulin bath.
Was that a thing?
Yes.
Oh no.
Right.
Ew. Boy, they did not have that together, did they?
Although, and this is not a positive about the movie, what I'm saying in general is that the death scene is how I kind of hope to die.
Eddie, valiant, digs into his vaudevillian past and does a song and dance. By the way, Bob Hoskins went through mime training, which was actually really cool. He did a very good job. I wish I could expand on it more, but I don't have the time or sobriety for that.
Judge Doom would have been terrifying. This movie is scary for kids.
You know, kids have got to grow up sometime. and learn how to deal with adversity and spooky villains and cigarettes. The weasels die one by one, and then Judge Doom is run over by a steamroller, which reminds me of A Fish Called Wanda, which is a great movie.
That is a great movie.
Thank you. But it's revealed that not only is Judge Doom actually a cartoon, but he's the one that killed his brother. He and Eddie fight, but Eddie is able to point the giant stream of dip at him and kill him. I am reading this word for word, if you can believe it.
Well, and then Roger's like screaming like, Eddie, do something. And I'm like, motherfucker, he just variety showed 4 weasels to death and turned a sociopathic cartoon from a solid to a liquid. What the fuck else do you want him to do?
Yeah, do something.
Roger, help yourself, man.
He is tied up. He's literally tied up.
Eddie's literally killed everyone.
Is he tied up?
Eddie?
Yeah.
With an emotion? Now he has to re-grieve his brother all over again.
Okay. Well, yeah. The judge is dead. Judge Doom is dead. Turns out Roger's love letter he wrote for Jessica earlier was actually written on Acme's will. And Eddie is no longer a sourpuss. And we get a song sung by all the tunes called Smile, Darn Ya Smile, which is actually from a very, very early...
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Merry Melodies? Merry Melodies.
I think that's correct. I think it's the first correct thing you've said this whole episode.
That's correct. And then Porky Pig. By the way, I think they got like the whole, not the cast, but like the crew and stuff together when they were doing the screening for like the early screening or whatever. And they are the ones that sing that song. The Smile, Darn You Smile is yes, it is.
Okay, but is it over?
There's video of it. And then Porky Pig. That's all, folks. Hey, Katrina, guess what?
What?
That's all, folks.
It's done. Yes. It's over now.
It's over. I love that. I love all the trivia, even the ones that might be true. But I love that trivia at the end where that's them singing.
It is. There's video of it.
Yeah, I love that. I bet that's cool.
Honestly, and not to get into too much of it, but the work that went into this is staggering because again, they hand drew everything.
That's bonkers.
They could have done CGI. They could have gone, and gone with some of the technology that was there at the time. They didn't do any of it. Like I said, the rotoscoping thing is absolutely true. They did not want to have those cheats. They didn't, it was so incredibly important. And there's actually a term, oh God, I hope I remember it, that's used in animation now to describe, like, I don't know if it's like going to, like, putting so much effort into it, even if it doesn't matter. And it's called bumping the lamp. And it's in that scene where they're in the hidey hole and where his head bumps the lamp or whatever. And because it's, it's swinging and it's putting light on everything, they put an insane amount of detail to get that right when it doesn't matter. Nobody would notice those sort of things. But that's the point. But like I said, I'm so glad that it was a success because the work that they put into it it just is mind-boggling.
How many, if you had to guess, how many movies do you think have been made? Good, bad, or indifferent? Like, how many movies ever since the conception of movies?
I don't know if there's been a million. I mean, hundreds of thousands.
Okay, so if you think about it in that context, the percentage of movies that could be considered groundbreaking is small.
Yeah.
And this is a groundbreaking... I mean, this movie is ridiculous.
Quite frankly, I remember very clearly people saying that about Forrest Gump because the stuff they did with the aging and like the CGI where he's meeting the presidents and things like that. Groundbreaking. Back to the Future, regardless, It was groundbreaking. Death Becomes Her. They did stuff in that was not being done. So Robert Zemeckis, I don't
He's no
care
Dick Donner, but
I don't care what he's done now. He has a huge filmography. I mean, he really has done so much. It's wild. But man, some of the stuff he did, you know, I hope that Disney and, you know, all those people that said no to him for the first time, I really hope that they understand how wonderful it was. And seeing all of this, you know that Terry Gilliam would not have been the right director for it.
No. And he's great. I love Terry Gilliam.
Oh, God, yeah. I love this movie so very, very, very much. I was very excited to do it. And I'm sorry for any false trivia. I promise I did my best. I wanted to do my best.
No, I know. I know you did. I know you tried.
Yeah.
In your way. I would love to hear, if I get to choose.
Yes.
I would love to hear what movies people consider groundbreaking movies.
Groundbreaking movies. I love that.
Yeah. I
definitely would love to hear that too. You can get a hold of us crazy easily. We are Split Happens Pod on all of the socials.
Yep.
SplitHappensPod.com is our website. I guess we could say we are still on the 80s train.
Oh, for our next movie?
Yeah.
Yes. The movie we did before this was Lady Hawk.
Yes.
The movie we did before that was Neverending Story.
Yes.
And I can't go back any further than that.
No, who can? Well, and this one 80, and then our next one is 80s.
And the next one is definitely 80s. And then the next one is 90s.
Hey.
And it is going to be so goddamn ridiculous.
We'll just say the next one, KATRINA is the pro.
I'm the pro in the next one.
And then I'm taking the one after.
And you know, as sparse as my notes are on this one, might be as long as my notes are for that one.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Oh, it's going to be great. I can't wait. Well, until next time, that's all, folks.
Bye, Anna Serene.
Bye, KATRINA.
Bye, everybody.